The work at the dig site has something to do with Day Zero. This is the kind of brain trouble my mom warned me about. Memories and emotions condensed into a mineral. I wonder what this channel is for. They must have already shipped out all the Harpic they need. I wonder what's on this reel. What is Day Zero? Maybe I can find out more about it. They dug up all that Harpic in order to conduct some sort of prayer on Day Zero.
I've recreated the same setup as the prayer statues, right here in my workshop. I set up a singing bowl so I can verify the pattern that will form in the water. And some Harpic, of course. Each god seems to correspond to a resonating frequency. And when this vibration acts on the Harpic, we get the, psychoactive response. Going to give it a try here.
I remember watching my dad make shadow puppets on the wall. Felt strange because I could see how it was done. I could see the trick of it, but it still felt kind of magical.
It worked. I do feel the more I do this, the more tired, and it feels like it takes me longer to return to the present. But now I have some control. I face the question of how this mineral affects the soil. I still have a lot of work to do. That's all for today.
A mineral that can affect the mind. The memories of the owner now turned into a beautiful mineral. There's a big tray with a researcher's notebook inside it somewhere. They look relieved to have finished their work.
The necessity of day zero is not just psychological, it's ecological. Because there is a compounding effect to these minerals and their psychological effect. And we see this in Tiang Valley. There is a memory and a memory of a memory and a memory of a memory of a memory. This echo effect, this recursive nature is the problem. As this cycles through the ecosystem, it creates points of pressure where things bleed, and soil and human minds are contaminated. Some will say, what's a few daytime visions? But it is an increasing risk, an increasing danger. Left alone, the haunted quality of this season will only get worse. The necessity of day zero is also to... This particular action will neutralize this phenomenon at its source. This is not an endless cycle. We are putting an end to this psychoactive material, and we are opening up space for something new.
How do they plan to remove the haunted quality of this season?
The necessity of day zero. The necessity of day zero is not just psychological, it's ecological. Because there is a
The info sign earlier said they are dangerous in large numbers. I have a pendant, though. In Cairo, we have a statue to remember Dr. Fournier. But this statue is meant to be worshipped. This field was absolutely full of memories. I'm glad I had my pendant, otherwise it would have been overwhelming. These slips are prayers to this god for forgetting things. People prayed here. Who did they pray to? The year of the din? Was that how they recorded years in the olden days? Sometimes recording, I feel like a vulture, feasting on a melancholic corpse. Never mind, forget this. I'm sure these critters will escape the valley before the flood. The Greyhands have a lot of this stuff now, for better or for worse. The bird stole a small trinket. I left the bird its prize, but maybe I can learn more about the locket. The tree looks healthy. The ritual must have worked. A piece of car, severed, dangling. As a warning to others?
Oh, no, no, no! You said we had until midnight. I'm not ready to leave. Look at all this. Wait a minute. A cute outfit, a bicycle. You're not a Greyhand. What a relief. I'm sorry. I just assumed because who else would be... What are you doing here? You're really cutting it close. I guess I'm doing research here on the lawn. I'm studying my own life. Welcome to Tiang Valley. You should have been here a week ago when the evacuation started. Almost everyone is gone now. My son and I are still here. There's a few old people left, too. You might come across them. Hopefully everyone will leave the valley tonight. We're going to live in the city, in a little apartment. Look! See how they put the dimensions on the back? I recreated our future apartment here, on the lawn. This is the space we have to work with, to live in. I'm trying to really imagine what it'll be like. We're going from a big farm to one room, and we need to be packed by tonight. I already packed for myself and my son, but my husband Yuri is a little harder to pack for because he passed away recently, and I can't bring all his things. It's not realistic. His stuff is still... it's all here. It's okay. You said you're here to study the valley? My Yuri was doing the same thing. We can do this. Just need to decide. Our old cart broke. I overloaded it. So I had to use the wheels of his bicycle. Now he's so mad he won't say a word. Yuri learned to paint from our neighbor, Matiora. He painted all 3 of these. This is a self-portrait he did. Kind of intense, right? He was more handsome than that. I wish he could have seen himself the way I saw him, you know? He was really lovely. Just occasional dark moods from his work. This is his portrait of me. We got into a fight over it. What's that supposed to mean? You just splatter some paint on the canvas and put my name on it? He said it was my essence. I don't know. Do you think it looks like me? He painted this for Kochi. Some kind of private joke between the 2 of them. I don't get it. They were both interested in the war and how it ended. I'm not. I just pray nothing like that will ever happen again. Which painting should I take with me? Yes, you're right. Himself, from his own eyes. Something I could never see without this painting. I've packed my essential clothes. I don't know what to do with these. This was Yuri's best suit. Maybe when Kochi grows up, it'll fit him. That's a long time away, though. My island dress. I made this for our trip to the islands, the trip we never took. It was based on a photo of a seaside Azan dance. The hours I spent on this. These are some of Yuri's clothes from when he was a kid. I thought Kochi could wear them, but he says they're itchy. So what's the use? But to throw them away, he was a little boy. He would put these clothes and go to school. He grew up. Oh, God, this hurts a little. Okay. It's true. We don't need any of these. They're already collecting dust here. All right. This is going well. But I feel like I'm forgetting something. Or someone. The demon of shame and mourning. How could I have forgotten? Now, where did I put him? We need to bring the demon of shame and mourning. When someone dies and you're in mourning, you're supposed to keep the demon in sight at all times. He's supposed to remind you of your regrets. It's a religious thing. These are Yuri's books. They're pretty heavy. This is an old religious book, The Prism of Yesterday. He didn't like to talk about his faith. I haven't read it much. Maybe there's a part of him in these pages. A part I never understood, that I could still glimpse. Maybe he would want me to keep this one. But I don't know. It just doesn't mean much to me. Yuri found this old tourist guide to the valley before we moved here. He was so excited. But this guide is really out of date. It's from way before the war. There's something optimistic about the colors they used. Yuri really wanted to take a trip to the archipelago together. We prepared for it a lot. Even taught ourselves a bit of the language from this book, but we never made the trip. It was always going to be soon, but it never happened. Seems like the kind of thing no one does anymore. Which should I take with me? We have a special feeling for the season just before us, the one our parents grew up in. It's like it was right there. But we missed it. We know there were horrors, but somehow everyone seems innocent. I suppose I'll be leaving the other two behind. I know they're heavy, but would you want to take one with you? Right. You probably need to travel light with just a bike. Let's see how this is going so far. We'll remember Yuri's excitement coming to the valley. I'll remember how Yuri saw himself. I think we're almost there. Let's just look a little more. I went through all our old photos, trying to see what I might be forgetting. I love that view. Have you been up there, by the entrance to the shrine? The entrance is bigger than the shrine itself, just across the river and up the hill. It's worth visiting. The doors to the shrine open when the sun goes down. The monk is still in there. I hope he'll evacuate. That's Matiora. She lives east of here, out in the woods by the river. She said she'll evacuate, but she's still here. It makes me nervous, but I can't complain. We're still here too. I wasn't interested in having a child at first. There are just so few these days. The thing all three of us had in common, as a family, was that we were pretty silly. We used to be, when we were all together. The past is such a heavy dream, and I never remember my dreams. But when I wake up, there's a cloud of feelings the dream left behind. Then the day begins. I move around, and that trace disappears. I wonder if our memories of the valley will drift away like that. Enough of these old photos. We still have work to do. My husband built these tools to study the valley. They were his life's work, and they took his life away. So what do I do with them? You can't buy tools like these. He made them. My husband didn't insult God, but maybe he stepped on his toe, and his life went out of him. There's the skin of our body that keeps us together. But there's also the skin of our minds. The skin of your mind can pop like a bubble, and everything that makes you yourself will come pouring out. And the earth will devour it eagerly. The way wind fills a vacuum. They might be incredibly valuable to a scientist on the other side of the world. I don't know. I also hate them. I get you're a curious soul, but I forbid you from using them. I don't care, but he did. He gave his life trying to understand this world. I can't keep these tools, and I can't throw them away. There's even more of them, bigger ones, out at his work shed. Okay, I'm going to turn away now. I want you to take them or throw them away. I don't want to know. All right, this is it. Oh! I killed him. The demon of shame and mourning. What was I thinking bringing it along? What an awful tradition. Kochi, do you still want to take a final tour of the valley? Let's get those wheels back where they belong. I know what I'll carry with me. It's something I couldn't leave behind if I tried. It couldn't be crushed, like the demon. It's too many layers deep. I'll carry the part of me that's gone, that's missing. There's so much life left that flowers grow along its edges, something like that. I'm glad you came to Tiang Valley today. Thank you for being there for me. I didn't realize how much I needed a stranger's ear. Now, there's no rush, but as you try to wrap your mind around this place, feel free to come ask me questions. I'll be right here until night comes.
We build our lives out of what we leave behind as much as from what we carry with us. I hope I get to taste some Saba fruit. If it merits a sticker, must be pretty good. The earth gave and gave. It did not let up. Not even at the last minute. We collect the fruit of the land we know is dying. Who could forgive us? I had an uncle who collected tools that were so old nobody knows what they were used for. Rhubarb is one of my favorite words. Rhubarb. 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 Rhubarb.
Do you want to go on a sightseeing tour? The next tour leaves in, well, now basically. Saying goodbye is like when you empty your pockets before going to bed. You get to see what you picked up. The things I picked up need somewhere to sleep. Follow me. This is my tree. Since we can't bring it to the city, I don't care what we bring. I love the tree, and Dad cured it. That's what he did. All this purple stuff in the valley that makes you feel funny. See? This used to be purple. And dangerous. Dad made the dangerous part go away. He wanted to make it so all the purple rocks were safe and green. I know there are plants underwater. Can a tree become an underwater tree? This one can't die. It's been through too much. Let's go. Let's go. We had a picnic here a long time ago. I can't remember it, but I've seen an old picture. Can you take a new picture? And I'll sit like Dad does in the old one I saw.
He is a great kid.
Mom disappeared one time. It took me a while to find her. She was sitting right here. And she was sad. I got one of her tears on my finger, like a little bug. And I flicked it into the water. And I said, flow, 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 until it made her feel better. Now I say it. I say it when everything is moving, but we don't want to move. Come on. Let's go.
This must be Kochi's drawing.
His name is Frenay. I asked him how he ended up sleeping here. Frenay said they were in the valley because they were so hungry. And then there was light everywhere. And they fell asleep forever. They should be old men now. But they couldn't get older if they tried. One time, I saw the monk out here cleaning them. It was so funny. He looked like he hated doing it. I'm not supposed to touch the soldiers, but I let Frenay borrow my pig. I need it back now. Let's go. Let's go. I wanted to see the water come up from here, to see it crash. I thought the flood would clean everything, but Mom said a flood is dirty. That makes no sense. I asked if we could stay and watch, but Mom said we need to get a ride to the city. That's our house. You're good. Come on. Let's go. Mom wasn't there when he passed away. I was there. Dad had his eyes closed, but he was making a face, like he could see something. So I asked him what he was looking at. He said he was looking at me, and I was all grown up. He saw me, climbing up a hill in the sun. Then he said his memories were falling to the soil, and he had to go with them. He didn't want to go, but he had to. He squeezed my hand, and it hurt. But can we wait here a while? Just to see if something will happen?
I met a boy who lost his father just like I did. It's something I don't talk about much, but I did to him. I've been recording everything for you, but this feels private. I'm not sure if I want to share this with the future.
You're still here. The tour is over. That's your prize, okay? I have to go home now. I'll see you someday later today.
Music from a trio of performers. The metal, the breeze, and my mind. I can still walk through the streets of my village, down the corridors of memory. I remember seeing the ocean for the first time, and something about the light, the water, the voices of other people, the boundary between myself and the rest of the world felt very thin. It was beautiful. A way to remember your loved ones?
I knew my brain was doing something special. I thought I'd wake up with an idea for a new shape or color. Everybody would love my new shape or color. But instead, my brain gave me a dream which made people afraid, which is making you leave. The dream scared me, but also made me glad to be alive. I am happy to keep living. I don't mind. The elder said it means the season is ending soon. I want to tell you the dream now. Let's shut our eyes and lay on the roof. We are already on the roof. That's good. I'll speak the dream out loud and you imagine it. You can close your eyes now. I'll tell you when to open them. I am in the forest. The sun is bright. My stomach rumbles. I'm hungry. I look for something to eat. There are fruit trees lining the path. I look for one to pick, to eat. I climb up one of the trees and reach out to grab a shining red apple. I blink, and suddenly the apple is rotten. It looks like it's full of spiders. I blink again, and now the apple is just a baby apple. Not ripe or rotten. I lose my balance and fall onto the ground. The apple changes colors. Some are eaten, some disappear. I hear a voice. Someone is there with me. I try to recognize who they are, but their face keeps changing. They're kind of everywhere. I tell them I'm hungry. I want what the earth is trying to give me. They say, these aren't apples. They're memories of every apple I've ever seen. There's something wrong with my eyes. And there's something wrong with the soil. They say I need to look into the sun to clear out my vision. They say we're going to look together, and that when we do, they'll melt away. They want to. Then behind them I see you, watching from the shadows. You've been taking notes on everything. This makes me feel better. I turn my head and I let the light in. I lose track of everything. When I get my senses back, I find myself holding a round, red fruit in my hand. I don't know what it is, but I take a bite, and it's the most delicious thing I've ever tasted. Then I woke up. You can open your eyes now. You probably have questions. It wasn't only my fault that the apples were acting funny. It seemed like the natural world, or whatever it's called, the land didn't know what time it was either. The soil had to forget a little. The face of the ghost person in the dream? They were everyone and no one. It reminded me of someone I used to look for. My birth was not easy. I was bigger than most babies. After I was born, the elder advised them not to have any more children. But years later, my parents tried. They told me I'd have a sibling. But we lost them a few weeks later. I felt like it was my fault. I should have been born last, if ever. I needed to see this missing person somewhere. So I searched faces for a face I'd never seen. I thought I had to carry them forever. But in the dream, they wanted to become part of everything. I had to let them go, which felt like a piece of me was dying. It hurts a lot, but it's a nice thing to do if you can. To let part of you become part of everything. Oh, I feel a bit winded now. I feel like everything is happening the way it should, but I still wish none of it would happen at all. I wish my dream didn't mean anything. I wish we had wasted more time together. I'd like that very much. We'll go down this roof together, and you'll keep going down and down, down into the heart of the world. Thank you for listening to my dream.
Yuri's tombstone. He'll stay behind in the valley. There isn't enough room for a cemetery in my village. Here, memory is granted space. Land is used to let the living meet the dead. Or maybe it's the other way around. Kochi collected objects around the valley and laid them to rest at his father's grave. I've collected memories. Where will they be laid to rest? The museum vault? This valley is so different than my village, but both places have an enormous tree watching over them. This tree will pass in the flood. What will be the end of the tree in Cairo? This is a season when memories echo on and on and on and on. Will the echoes fade away, or will they be cut off abruptly? The process of taking people out of the valley was also a kind of ritual, a way of bridging one life to another. They know the world they're leaving. The next one hasn't been created yet. A village that was created as a place to heal. Is that where my instinct to try to help comes from? It's so strange to imagine I'll be shaped by places and people I haven't met yet. So strange to imagine that I might feel at home somewhere else. A calm sound comes from the strings. I hold tight to the feeling of being almost lost, barely lost, wandering with conviction. If I could tell Dad that I left home, I would describe this feeling to him in detail. The faces look trapped in there,